Imagine this. You wake up inside a pitch-dark cave, your stomach growling like a war drum, and all you see around are a few cold rocks and a chunk of raw meat. No stove, no air fryer, not even salt. Welcome to the Stone Age, a world where cook it first was about as distant as Wi-Fi in the jungle. And here comes humanity's very first survival lesson, Fire 101 with hot stones. Picture a caveman, hair sticking out like a bird's nest, banging two rocks together with the dead serious face of a scientist building a nuclear bomb. Clink, clink, nothing happens. He stares at the rock, shakes his head, and grunts, "This one's broken." Pause. Yep, rocks don't come with batteries. Those epic fails, they were literally the comedy specials that kick-started civilization. The truth is, sparking fire wasn't easy. Some cavemen spent hours smacking flint, while others rubbed wooden sticks together like they were at some prehistoric gym. Creak, creak, until finally a tiny spark flickered, and boom, the very first light show. Fire! Add in a collective woo, like a 4th of July crowd, and you've got history's first fireworks. That spark fell on the dry leaves, and suddenly, poof, a wisp of smoke curled up. Everyone held their breath and then cheered as orange flames rose. In that instant, fire wasn't just about scaring lions away anymore. It became the world's first kitchen stove. Now imagine the moment. A caveman slaps a slab of raw, dirt-covered meat onto a sizzling hot stone. Sizzle! That sound was probably the first ASMR moment of all time. The smoky aroma filled the cave, eyes widened, and drool started dripping like Stone Age rainfall. Pause, because right there, they discovered something revolutionary. Cooked meat tasted better. Instead of chewing through rubbery, bloody chunks, they were suddenly biting into tender, smoky goodness that melted in the mouth. Fine dining? Oh yes, it was born right there, on a rock. Of course, every early chef had his bloopers. One caveman proudly flips the meat with a stick, only to drop it into the ashes. He blows off the dirt, shrugs, and eats it anyway. Pause. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the invention of the 5-second rule. Others burned their hands, turned meat into charcoal, or seasoned it by sprinkling sand. The cave filled with smoke, laughter, and very questionable flavors. But everyone agreed, hot stone cooking was genius. And just as they were licking their fingers, a thought popped up. If hot stones work, which rocks actually hold heat the best? Teaser. Stick around, because next, cavemen were basically picking stones the way we pick gas stoves. So here's the thing. Not every rock is created equal. In the Stone Age, your choice of rock was the difference between a juicy steak and a crunchy ball of ash. Imagine cavemen standing around staring at rocks like we stare at microwaves and Best Buy. This one looks shiny. Must be premium. Spoiler alert, it usually exploded. Yes, you heard that right. Some rocks literally cracked and popped when exposed to fire, sending little shards flying. Instant fireworks. Pause. And there you go, the world's first kitchen accident. OSHA would not approve. Over time, cavemen noticed something. Smooth, heavy rocks from rivers or volcanic areas held heat longer and cooked meat more evenly. Flat stones were even better. They worked like a prehistoric grill pan. If you think about it, they were basically inventing the world's first non-stick cookware, minus the Teflon and fancy brand names. Picture this scene. One caveman brings back a round rock he found in the river. He slaps it down in the fire pit, waits, and then puts meat on top. Sizzle. Perfect heat, no cracks. The tribe cheers like he just won Top Chef Caveman Edition. Meanwhile, his buddy who brought back crumbly sandstone watches his rock split in half with a sad pop, and everyone bursts out laughing. That's when they started becoming picky. Cavemen weren't just random hunters. They were low-key geologists. Too light, no good. Too brittle, dangerous. Ooh, this one heavy good. Suddenly, choosing rocks wasn't just survival, it was an art form. And let's not forget the experimentation. Some cavemen even figured out that if you heated rocks and then buried them in a pit with meat, the food cooked slowly over hours. Congratulations, humanity. You just invented the Stone Age slow cooking, the original crock pot. Add a mammoth leg, wait a few hours, and boom, caveman barbecue. Pause. Imagine the smell. Meat steaming under dirt, juices dripping, the whole tribe circling the pit like kids around the pizza box. Somebody shouts, "Best rock ever!" Another one flexes, "My rock better." Yep, rock envy was real. And here's the kicker. This knowledge didn't stay random. It spread. Cavemen started passing down their rock hacks the same way we pass down family recipes. The difference, instead of grandma saying, "Use butter, not margarine," it was, "Use bath salt, not sandstone." A real Stone Age Michelin guide. But the best part? Every time a caveman nailed the rock choice, the tribe ate like kings. Every time he messed up, they got broken teeth and charred crumbs. The stakes, literally stakes, were high. And just when you think that's the peak of Stone Age culinary science, they took it further. Because after finding the right rock, cavemen wanted to experiment with technique. Teaser. Next up, how to actually cook on those stones. Caveman recipes, stick flipping, and yes, sand seasoning. Now that the cavemen had cracked the code of picking the right stones, it was time to play Master Chef, Stone Age Edition. Forget about recipe books or Gordon Ramsay yelling, "It's raw." The menu was simple. Meat, more meat, and sometimes bugs. Bon appetit. Picture this. A caveman squats next to a sizzling flat stone, slaps down a hunk of mammoth meat, and listens to that heavenly sizzle. For a moment, you can almost hear him whisper, ASMR. Of course, no one knew what that meant yet, but the tribe did gather closer, sniffing the smoky aroma like it was perfume. Now here's where the technique came in. Cavemen quickly learned you couldn't just throw meat on a rock and walk away. Too close to the fire, burnt on the outside, raw on the inside. Congratulations, you've invented Stone Age sushi. Too far from the fire, you'd be chewing jerky for 3 hours. The trick was patience, flipping the meat with sticks, poking it, waiting for the fat to drip and hiss. And yes, some genius out there invented seasoning. But spoiler alert, it wasn't salt and pepper. It was ash, dirt, and sometimes sand. One caveman sneezes dramatically after biting into his spicy sand steak, while the others roar with laughter. Pause. And honestly, tell me that doesn't sound like the first prank dinner party in history. Let's not forget the variety. Some tribes wrapped meat in leaves before placing it on the stone. Instant Stone Age foil wrap. Others smoked it over slow embers, making it last longer. Cavemen didn't know it, but they had just discovered food preservation. That's right, your beef jerky snack today has a direct line back to some hairy dude in a cave waving meat over smoke. And because no kitchen is complete without accidents, let's talk bloopers. One caveman trying to show off flips his steak high into the air. Whoosh, it lands in the fire. The tribe bursts out laughing, someone shouts, "Nice catch, chef," and another caveman quietly grabs the ruined piece and still eats it. 5-second rule, Stone Age edition. Cooking became more than survival. It was entertainment. Cavemen circled around the cooking stone like it was Netflix, eyes glued to the action, waiting for the plot twist. Will it burn? Will it fall? Will Thok finally stop dropping the meat? The suspense was real. And here's the surprising part. Sharing that cooked meat built trust. The tribe ate together, laughed together, and probably gossiped. Did you see how Og almost set his hair on fire? That hot stone wasn't just dinner, it was social glue. Pause, because here's the kicker. Once you get a bunch of cavemen full of smoky meat, something wild happens. They celebrate, they sing, they dance, they throw parties. Teaser, but wait until you see how cavemen turn hot stone cooking into the wildest cave parties in history. So picture this. The meat is sizzling, Smoke curling up the cave walls, and the tribe is sitting in a circle, drooling like toddlers at an ice cream truck. Then boom, the first ever Stone Age dinner party begins. One caveman pulls the slab off the hot stone, tears it in half with his bare hands, and passes it around. No plates, no forks, no knives, just greasy fingers and a whole lot of grunting. Pause. Congratulations, you've just invented the first finger food buffet. Now here's where it gets funny. Imagine a bunch of cavemen chomping down in unison, nodding approvingly at each other like food critics. One caveman holds up a half-burnt chunk, grunts, crunchy, and everyone bursts out laughing. Another guy, he's too eager, bites into meat that's still raw in the middle, makes a face like he just swallowed a lemon. Cue the laugh track. And parties weren't just about eating. They were about showing off. One caveman might dance around the fire, waving his roasted stick like a Michelin-starred kebab. Another slaps his belly, declaring himself king of the feast. Imagine cavemen inventing karaoke, except instead of singing, it's just yelling and stomping to the beat of sticks hitting rocks. Sound effects? Oh, they had plenty. Crackling fire, sizzling fat, burps that echoed through the cave. Add some cavemen music, basically banging rocks together like a prehistoric drumline, and suddenly you've got the first rave in history. Pause. With zero noise complaints because, well, no neighbors. And don't underestimate the comedy. Every feast came with slapstick. Someone tripping over a log, someone's stick catching on fire, or a dog like wolf sneaking in to steal meat. The tribe goes wild chasing it, shouting, "Not my steak!" Tell me that doesn't sound like a sitcom pilot. But the best part, these meals bonded the tribe. Sharing meat wasn't just generosity, it was survival. If you fed your tribe, they trusted you. They followed you. They'd even let you DJ the next party with your rock banging solo. In a weird way, hot stone cooking didn't just keep them fed, it kept them together.
And just when you think this is the end of the story, meat cooked, bellies full, tribe happy, there's one more twist. Because these caveman hacks didn't just stay in caves. They traveled. They evolved. They became the foundation of cooking tricks we still use today. Teaser. Next up, the shocking truth. Stone Age cooking hacks that survived into the modern world. Here's the twist you didn't see coming. Those goofy caveman hacks didn't vanish with the mammoths. They're still hiding in plain sight. At your backyard barbecue, your camping trip, maybe even your fancy steakhouse. Pause. Yes, you're basically eating like a caveman, just with more Instagram filters. Think about it. Ever cooked meat on a hot, flat rock while camping? Congratulations! You recreated the original caveman grill. When modern survivalists heat stones in a fire and drop them into a pit with food, they're literally doing Stone Age slow cooking. That's right, your grandma's crock pot? A high-tech caveman hole in the ground. Even pizza ovens trace back to the same principle. Heat-retaining stones, blazing fire, food cooked evenly. Swap the mammoth steak for pepperoni, and you've got prehistoric fine dining. Pause. Next time you order stone-fired pizza, just remember, some hairy dude invented it in a cave 30,000 years ago. And let's not forget the social side. Why do people still gather around grills at tailgate parties, flipping burgers, telling jokes, and arguing about who makes the best ribs? Because that's exactly what cavemen did, minus the beer coolers. Cooking together was bonding then, and it's bonding now. The hacks live on in survival shows too. Drop Bear Grylls in the wilderness, and what's the first thing he does? Fire, rocks, and meat. He's not reinventing the wheel. He's channeling his inner caveman. Add a dramatic pause, cut to his intense face, and suddenly we're all binge watching what cavemen did every Tuesday night. And here's the kicker. We still love the same sounds. The sizzle of fat, the crackle of fire, the smell of smoke. It hits something ancient in our brains. Something that whispers, you're safe, you're fed, you're home. Cavemen didn't have TikTok, but if they did, hot stone cooking would have gone viral. So the next time you see stone grilled steak on a menu, don't roll your eyes at the price. Pause. you're not just buying dinner. You're buying 30,000 years of trial, error, and caveman comedy. And that's the real Stone Age hack. Cooking wasn't just about food. It was about survival, family, laughter, and the first sparks of culture. From caves to kitchens, the hot stone never went cold. Cue one last teaser. Imagine what else we stole from cavemen, because fire and meat were just the appetizers.